Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I fall, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Hey everybody, how are you? I hope everyone's having a good Thursday. Hey Truth Seeker, Sinner, welcome. Because I thought all day yesterday was Thursday, I thought all day today was Friday, and it's not Friday until tomorrow. And we were supposed to get snow tonight into tomorrow with strong winds, and they've downgraded it. So now they're saying instead of 4 to 7, they're saying 1 to 3. So most likely we're not going to have a delay, let alone a snow day. So, oh yeah, Amac, I just saw poor Casper. Do you know why his eye is like that? Like, did he get into something? Poor thing. Warm washcloth will help. Warm washcloth with like lukewarm water, and like just dab it. Oh, it's freezing in Ohio. It actually wasn't bad today. It was, when I left work, it was 36 degrees. And not bad at all compared to what it was yesterday. Yesterday it was brutal. Oh, good, Truth Seeker. I'm so glad to hear that your cat's eye is getting better. Always a good thing. Hey, Pookie. So today we are going to talk about an explosion in Los Angeles. And I had gotten the notification earlier and I wasn't really sure what was going on. I looked at a picture and I was like, I couldn't really tell what was happening. And turns out it was a semi that exploded after firefighters had arrived because the driver sensed something was wrong and called 911. And so, unfortunately, 7 firefighters were injured, 2 of them critically. So, I have the press conference was held about an hour and a half ago, maybe 2 hours. So, it won't be a very long live, maybe about 45 minutes, but I wanted to talk about this because, these I always think of, with firefighters, they run toward fire when everyone else runs away from fire. And here they had been responding to, the potential of an explosion, not knowing that it would actually explode while they were they were there. 62 and sunny, that's nice. Ooh, Pookie, you hit 50? Ugh, that's like what it was this past weekend. It was 60 on Saturday. It was it S yeah, Saturday. It was absolutely gorgeous. And so I'm like, "Ugh," and then when I left work today, I was like, "Wow, there's no wind, it's sunny, little brisk," and then tomorrow it's gonna be starting tonight, they're saying winds up to 50 miles an hour now. So, it's gonna be definitely chilly. Alright, so let me add this back. And so we're going to start with let me just make sure I don't oh, that is the first slide. Okay. I thought for some reason I had a different one. Um,
What is going on?
oh, that is really low. Hold on a second here. And if let me know if my volume is okay. I had to mess around with it, and unfortunately, I can't test it out on my end. So just let me know if I need to pump my volume up a little bit. So this is actually not what I had seen. I had actually seen just like the remnants of the semi, and there wasn't even any fire or anything. I was like, "What is going on?" Like, they're saying explosion. It doesn't look like there was an explosion, and there definitely was.
A very, very serious situation out here. We have 4 firefighters injured, 3 of them critically. And these are our first responders coming out here to what was reported as some sort of accident involving a big rig here in the San Pedro area. This is going to be the corner of Alameda and Henry Ford. Now, the 3 critical have already been taken to the local hospital out here by LA City Fire Department. There's another firefighter still here on scene with minor injuries, but the scene itself is still very, very active. You can see some of those firefighters and paramedics probably walking with one of those injured firefighters. What this was some sort of explosion. And you know what? Just getting here on scene, you can see some broken windows out here.
It does. It looks like actually that car, and maybe I'm mistaken, but it does look like a window in that car was blown out and possibly the airbag deployed. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just the angle, but it did appear that let me see if I can yeah, it it does seem like there's something the window is gone for sure. I'm not sure what that is that's actually over the window. Hey Deborah, how are you? Laura, thanks for being here.
Out here from that explosion. They're saying that one of the cylinders is still active and they're trying to get the firefighters away from this truck.
Holy crap. Okay, so I'm assuming this was the front end and then this was the back end of the semi. It's hard to tell, but holy cow.
Can see right there that is venting some sort of high pressure gas. Now they're calling this CNG, so that's going to be some sort of natural gas. But this vehicle, I believe that is some sort of big rig, exploded this morning, and it did injure critically 3 firefighters. Now when you say critical, we don't know extremely critical, but just the fact that they're that severely.
Okay, and you can see that there looks like there was some damage to it was very weird. It was like a triangle full of just the cabs of 18-wheelers, but you can see there's some damage there. And then there was a railroad track here too.
Hurt. And again, this happening out here in the San Pedro area, Wilmington and
So, good question, Pookie. So, they say that it was fueled by compressed natural gas, and one of the two 100-gallon tanks exploded. Yep. And actually, let me just I'll move over to this article. So this is CNN, and it was updated at 4:04 Eastern, so about 2 hours ago. Oh, and I had seen 7 Los Angeles firefighters hurt. It is actually 9. So there were 7, so 9 total injured. 2 of them were critical. So it may have been prior 7 injured, 2 critical, so that might be my bad. I might not have seen that specificity. So at least 9 Los Angeles City firefighters have been injured in a semi-truck explosion, and 2 are in critical condition. The semi-truck was fueled by compressed natural gas, and one of the 2 100-gallon tanks aboard exploded as firefighters attempted to put out a fire. The Clean Air semi-truck is still an active fire situation, but there is no longer any threat to the community. A ball of flames reached as high as the top of nearby utility poles burst. It actually did explode one of the transformers nearby. Of the 9 victims initially taken to Harbor UCLA Medical Center for treatment, 2 are in critical condition, and the other 7 are being treated for moderate to minor injuries. One of those with critical injuries has since been airlifted to another hospital for further treatment. Trauma surgeon Dr. Molly Dean said the firefighters were initially evaluated for burn, blast, and airway inhalation injuries. Frankly, it's remarkable that none of them are more severely injured, she said after seeing video of the fireball, and we are going to take a look at that as well. Some firefighters were believed to have been on top of a truck and were blown back with the force of the explosion. That tells us there's now maybe multiple mechanisms of injury at play, which can then lead to multiple types of injury. I'm reminded of how heroic our members are, and each and every day they are putting themselves in harm's way to provide an incredible level of expertise and professionalism for the people we serve. Hazardous material specialists on the scene are monitoring the air in the area and report normal levels at this time. Waves of firefighters will be coming in to fully extinguish the fire that remains as the gas dissipates into the air. Aerial footage from the scene shows charred firefighter gear and clothing littered on the street near the wreckage of a nearly unrecognizable chassis. Is it chassis or chassis? Chassis of a semi-truck. I've never actually seen that word before. Chassis. A few cars parked nearby have shattered windows, likely a casualty of the explosion. The truck driver was unhurt in the incident, and she remains on scene and is cooperating with investigators. The explosion happened in an industrial part of Wilmington near the Port of Los Angeles, just west of Long Beach. Chassis. Thank you. Hey, Dial-Up, how are you?
Henry Ford. Now, they are still very concerned. You can see all the firefighters giving that natural gas vehicle a wide berth out here. And again, that explosion damaging some vehicles and some buildings in the area. And again, most importantly, injuring 3 firefighters critically and 1 with minor injuries. But again, still a very active situation. And you can see that what's left of that truck You can see, I'm trying to show it to you the best we can. You can see at least some gas still venting at a high rate. You can see that kind of one flame shooting straight out. Now that's going to be some of that high pressure gas. Again, hopefully there was nobody in that big rig when that explosion happened, but you can see.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me just back it up a tiny bit because I was distracted by chat for a moment and I missed actually what was being said. So I'm just going to back it up.
See that what's left of that truck. You can see, I'm trying to show it to you the best we can. You can see at least some gas still venting at a high rate. You can see that kind of one flame shooting straight out. Now that's going to be some of that high pressure gas. Again, hopefully there was nobody in that big rig when that explosion happened, but you can see what's left of.
Holy cow. Okay, so that's the front. So I was correct. So the front and then the back part. And I'm curious. So they said one of the tanks exploded, which I'm assuming one of the other tanks is still, I mean, it's still burning, but clearly there's no tanks on there. Wow.
Of it right there. And again, still a very dangerous situation. Firefighters.
It's okay, Laura. It's okay. Hey, Bridget, how are you?
Having much caution out here, staying away from the area, but again, still very, very fluid. When we just arrived here on scene, we saw this one vehicle with broken windows, and probably from that blast. And again, this must have been a huge explosion out here this morning when that natural gas explosion happened. Again, I cannot stress enough, I'm hopeful that all those firefighters are okay. There are our first responders. And again, this still very active scene out here in San Pedro. I'm Stu in Skyfox. Back to you all in the studio.
Okay, so the next video is of the explosion. So I did have on my banner, I do have viewer discretion advised, just because the sound is pretty loud, at least when I was listening to it. So just know that it could be jarring. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Okay, and actually and so the one thing I noticed that I hadn't noticed before is you can see after the initial blast, there is a transformer to the left that does explode or blow up. And I'm going to just do a little bit slower. Crazy. And like the doctor had said, I agree with her. The fact that no one was more severely injured is nothing short of miraculous. Yeah. Okay, so this next one is actually the radio traffic. So the call for the Mayday call, asking for assistance in after the explosion. Hey, Deborah, how are you?
All right, the moments after the truck exploded, firefighters, they made Mayday call-outs. Assignment Manager Mark Liu live at the desk with how firefighters communicated the desperate rush to get the injured to safety. Mark, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Chris, I'll tell you, hearing a Mayday call-out on the fire radios is something you never want to hear. Firefighters moved fast to declare this incident an imminent danger and rushed rescue ambulances to the scene. Now take a listen to the moments just after the explosion as firefighters announce on the radio they have multiple injuries at the scene. Take a listen.
We've got an explosion. Firefighters down. Are we far enough away from the IDLH because that thing's still off, Captain? Are we good on that distance?
Now, right there, you heard that last firefighter call this incident an IDLH. That's a pretty rare thing to hear on the fire radios. It stands for imminent danger to life or health and is used in situations where there is active danger to anyone involved at the scene. Now, after the
So it was IDLH, imminent danger to life and health. I did not know that before. So IDLH.
clearing that mayday, firefighters set up a very large perimeter, as you can see there, around the wreckage of that destroyed truck, and then expanded it even further when they realized there was still a pressurized tank burning underneath all of that. The mayday call triggered far more firefighters.
Okay, so the one tank exploded, and then based on what the reporter just said, the other tank was underneath burning. And that looks actually like the door of the semi right here. Absolutely insane. Lisa, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Of that. The mayday call triggered far more firefighters and paramedics to arrive at the scene. They rushed 3 of those firefighters, 2 of them critical, right to Harbor UCLA. That's the closest.
Oh, Lisa, do you mean the initial 911 call? Because the driver did call 911 because she sensed something was amiss. So the initial call was from the driver that there was a fire, to what I understand. Yes, okay, that's what I thought, Lisa. Okay. Right. So the driver had called about a fire. And so they were responding to that call when the explosion happened.
Trauma center about 5 miles away. That's where Tina Patel is. In total, 7 firefighters injured in this explosion. And this morning, the investigation as to how.
Okay, so again, that's where I thought I was confused, because initially I had seen 7 firefighters injured, 2 critically, but the update was that 9 Los Angeles firefighters were injured, 2 critically.
How this happened continues. That is the very latest here from the desk. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Mark, still a lot to come from this. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story as the day goes on, including how these firefighters, 7 firefighters who were injured, are now doing in the hospital.
All right, so the last 2 slides are the press conference, again, that happened about 2 hours ago, and it is about 21 minutes long. I did cut out the part where they were relaying the information in Spanish, so it will be broken into 2 parts. Okay, Lisa, I have a friend in San Pedro. That's where the Port of LA is. Hey, Okie Crime News, how are you?
So in reference to the actual incident, it took place at 6:58 this morning. We responded to the 1100 block of Alameda Street in Wilmington for an auto fire incident. When we arrived on scene, we had a semi truck, and it was a tractor, no trailer, that was on fire. However, the unique aspect of this is that the truck.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I didn't know that, and the other articles hadn't said it was it didn't have a trailer. So it must have been, okay, so, all right, I'm just going to let him talk.
Was not powered by the usual fuel like diesel or gasoline. It was a clean air vehicle. It was powered by compressed natural gas, or CNG. So it had 2 100-gallon tanks that are under 3,300 pounds of pressure, and those tanks are mounted on each side of the vehicle to power it. So per usual protocol, we had a total of 10 firefighters that responded to extinguish this fire. However, 6 minutes after arriving on scene, one of those CNG tanks exploded, and it tragically injured 9 of our members, 2 of them critically. Now, the truck driver, who was an adult female, fortunately was not injured. She noticed some abnormalities of the tanks. She exited, called 911, and she remains on scene cooperating. But we do have 2 critical firefighters, 4 in moderate injuries, and 3 that had minor injuries, totaling 9. Now, in reference to the actual actions that we took place on scene, at the peak of the incident, there's over 150 firefighters that ultimately responded. They would handle the medical aspect. Essentially, we had a mass casualty incident, tragically, of our own members to quickly triage, treat, and transport them. We had fire suppression issues to take care of with hose lines to extinguish small fire. And then we have a large hazardous materials component. Now, we did have flames that continued from one of those cylinders, the non-exploded one, for several hours. We then established a 500-foot perimeter.
Not sure. I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm not sure how far to go back. I'll just go back. Oh, yeah, here. Okay, so we'll go back to here because I actually missed
9.
that.
Now, in reference to the actual actions that we took place on scene, at the peak of the incident, there's over 150 firefighters that ultimately responded. They would handle the medical aspect. Essentially, we had a mass casualty incident, tragically, of our own members to quickly triage, treat, and transport them. We had fire suppression issues to take care of with hose lines to extinguish small fire. And then we have a large hazardous materials component. Now, we did have flames that continued from one of those cylinders, the non-exploded one, for several hours. We then established a 500-foot perimeter around that blast zone to ensure safety. Now, it's important to mention, too, there was no homes in immediate danger that are in that area. So therefore, there was no formal evacuation needed. And we're proud to say that there's no civilians that were injured. Currently, we still have firefighters on scene, along with our friends from law enforcement, that are keeping the public outside that perimeter. And this does remain an active incident. And at this point, I'd like to turn this over to the fire chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department, Kristen Crowley.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Today is a day I think where all of us can take a moment to recognize how intrinsically dangerous firefighting can be. This morning, 10 of our firefighters responded to a reported auto fire in the harbor area. During fire suppression operations aimed at extinguishing the tractor trailer, a significant explosion occurred, injuring 9 of our LAFD firefighters. Now, when this incident occurred, the LAFD enacted our plan. Unfortunately, at times, we have to think forward to what can happen at any moment to our people. We already had a plan in place. We focused on 3 initial areas. 1, to stabilize the incident and to ensure public safety. Additional firefighters rushed to the scene with our highest level of command to ensure that the fire was extinguished and no continuing threat existed in the area and to the public. I am also happy to say that this has occurred, our plan is enacted, and there's no continuing threat to the public during this time. Second, we focused on the care of our injured firefighters. We ensured that all of our firefighters received rapid transport to the hospital and received the highest level of care here at Harbor UCLA Medical Center. 9 of our firefighters were initially injured at this incident. One of those firefighters received specialized care at the burn center, and he has already been airlifted to LA General Hospital for further care. We also recognize that when a firefighter suffers an injury, these effects go well beyond the individual firefighter. These families are impacted as well as our fellow firefighters. As our plan calls for, when we have a significant firefighter injury, we assembled an LAFD and city family, a holistic approach to ensure that we support our firefighters and their families. Third, we focus today, and one of our main focuses is to initiate a significant incident review team to look at the circumstances of today's events. This team is highly trained, and they will look at every single aspect of this incident and gather the opportunities for improvement and lessons learned. I've taken the opportunity to meet with every single one of our 9 members and to look at them and their faces was something that I will never forget. I'm reminded of how heroic our members are, and that each and every day they are putting themselves in harm's way to provide an incredible level of expertise and professionalism to the people that we serve. Now, there's no more difficult call to receive as a fire chief than to receive this specific type of notification. As I did this morning, the 9 fellow firefighters that were injured during this event, again, I'm reminded of their professionalism and what they do every single day. Now, this incident is an opportunity for all of us to remember the commitment of our firefighters and other public safety workers who make that sacrifice each and every day, as well as put others before themselves. I would like to thank all of the LAFD members, the hospital staff, other public safety members, our elected leaders, including Mayor Bass, our council members who are here, for coming to support our firefighters and their families in our time of need. To the public, we thank you for always allowing us to serve you. And I would like to ask today that you keep our 9 injured firefighters in your thoughts and in your prayers. God bless our country, God bless our city of Los Angeles, and God bless the men and women of the LAFD. Next up will be Mayor Bass, who will be providing her remarks.
Thank you, Chief Crowley. This is a difficult day in Los Angeles. I want to thank Chief Crowley for her leadership in these difficult times. We've been in touch throughout the morning, and I've also been in touch with the union leadership as well. I'm here with a simple message to our firefighters in the building behind me and in fire stations across our city, watching the news this morning unfold. The 4 million people of Los Angeles stand with you. While Angelenos were barely waking up and making their first cup of coffee, our LAFD firefighters were courageously responding to this blaze, putting their lives on the line to protect each one of us, as they do every single day. I want to acknowledge the families of the firefighters who were injured this morning and all of their firefighter colleagues. Our thoughts are with you as we all hope for a rapid recovery for all involved. And I will say that Angelenos are offering their thoughts and prayers as well for you who are injured, your families, and all of LAFD today. What happened this morning is a risk that our firefighters take every single day. And again, we are grateful as a city and as a region for their service. I know some of our firefighters that were injured this morning are in various states of surgery and recovery. And I will say that there is no better staff than the one here at Harbor UCLA Medical Center and LAC USC Medical Center. I want to thank the nurses, the doctors, the surgeons, everyone working together to respond to this incident, and led by our next speaker, Dr. Molly Dean, who is the trauma surgeon here. Dr. Dean.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. At approximately 7:21 this morning, our facility was notified of this mass casualty incident that had occurred over in the harbor. We were notified that we'd be receiving multiple patients. Shortly thereafter, the 2 critically injured arrived. An additional 7 patients then followed. Those patients were evaluated for burn, blast, and airway inhalational injuries and stabilized. One of those individuals required intubation and was transported to LA General, which is our local county burn center, one of 3 in the county. After the patients were able to be stabilized, I was actually able to visualize some of the footage to see the blast injury that had occurred to these patients. And frankly, it's remarkable that none of them were more severely injured after watching the footage. Most people should actually do fairly well. They've been stabilized, and I don't have additional information on their injuries. We were also fortunate that this occurred close by. Patients arrived very quickly. Multiple staff members were at the ready to assume care of these patients and get them triaged as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tim McCosker. I'm a councilman of the 15th District. My district includes the community of Wilmington, where this incident occurred. I began getting calls from concerned residents immediately after the blast. It was a great and well-trained task force coming out of 38s that responded first. And unfortunately, the members of 38s in that response were injured. These are members of our community. They're members of their own families. They're members of the fire family. They're also members of the Wilmington family. And so our hearts and prayers go out to them. I want to say that I did have the opportunity to be on scene, and I appreciate just how well trained and how professional the LAFD is on that scene, which is a large perimeter. And I do want to say this to my community in Wilmington. It's a large perimeter. It runs essentially from Alameda to Henry Ford, from Anaheim to PCH. It is a scene that has been secured, and we have Port Police and LAPD who have made sure to secure that area. And we have all of the resources of LAPD there, LAFD there, to make sure that we're responding to the hazard situation, to the risk, to make sure there's no further risk to the surrounding people, property, and most importantly, to the women and men of our fire department. It is a moment like this when we realize how important it is for us to fund LAFD, to make sure that we have all of the resources necessary to respond to the complexity of what happens down at the port, to respond to what happens in the complexity down at the port. I thank the mayor for her support. I certainly thank everybody on this hospital staff for the great care of these firefighters. And I will say, as the son of a firefighter and the father of 2 firefighters, this is a day that you never want to hear of. Every single member of this department is like a father, a brother, a sister, or a child of ours. And so I appreciate the concern that has been outpouring from my entire district and from the entire city. So thank you.
Okay, so we are going to move to the last slide. And this is the end of it, which is about 8 minutes.
And the father of 2 firefighters, this is a day that you never want to hear of. Every single member of this department is like a father, a brother, a sister, or a child of ours.
Hold on a second. I had the wrong timestamp. Give me one moment. Okay, sorry about that.
Not injured. The driver managed to get out of the truck. We do know that 9 firefighters were injured. We were told earlier there was on fire, and that's why the firefighters responded. That driver is not injured. The driver managed to get out of the truck. We do know that 9 firefighters were injured. We were told earlier there were 7, 2 in critical condition, 4 in moderate injuries.
If you'd like to hear more of this press conference, you can go to our streaming app. We'll see you on Eyewitness News at 3 o'clock.
And this note from Supervisor Hahn, quote, "I want to express my solidarity with the Los Angeles Fire Department. My prayers are with each of the injured firefighters and their families, with the entire department, and I am grateful for the LA County doctors and nurses who are doing everything they can to save lives. I have represented Wilmington for decades now, and I know that the truck traffic in that area, a tragic like this one, is something the community has worried about for a long time." End of quote. That's from County Supervisor Janice Hahn.
Thank you, ma'am. We're going to now open this up to questions, and we're going to begin with ABC 7.
Right here, Jessica Villalba. The first question is for Chief Crowley. that you spoke with the firefighters. The two that are critically injured, I know one was intubated. Were they able to adjust their back, or are they able to communicate with you? And do we expect their injuries? We expect them to survive.
Right. So the question specifically is about our two critically injured members and what was that, perhaps the conversation, or what did I see? And I can share that with all of you at this point. I did have the opportunity to spend time with one of the critically injured members. He is stable. It looks like he may stay here just for additional observation. He was speaking. His family is on scene. I had the opportunity to speak with the family as well, and I wanted to ensure that they all felt the love and support that is coming to the families that are impacted. But that was the one critical member that I did have the opportunity who was awake and alert and talking. The second patient was the one that was in critical condition as well. That was the one that was airlifted out per our air ambulance and transported to the burn center at LA General. And that's the specifics that I can share with you at this time.
Chief, are there going to be any examinations in the protocols for handling CNG type fires on this? Because again, what happened here, fuel air explosion, literally. Are there going to be investigators will be looking at approaches in the future to try to prevent any further injuries of this type of things happening?
Sure. So the question was, is there going to be any type of a review in standard operating procedures that deal with CNG types of fires, that sort of a thing? I alluded to earlier that we already have in place our serious incident response team that are highly qualified in this type of any type of serious incident. They're already on scene, collecting information, interviewing individuals that were there. Anytime that we can collect information where if there's a safer way to conduct ourselves, or perhaps this was something that would not even made a difference. In the end, we want to ensure that our people have the information and the training to ensure their safety. And just as important is sharing with the rest of the fire service as a whole. And this already happens across the nation and internationally, is sharing lessons learned. And if there's a safer, more efficient way of doing things, we'll provide that.
Public safety when it comes to these types of vehicles, for example, say that had been a collision too hard, what's the best practice that people do going forward if they're dealing with that kind of truck and that kind of natural gas on board?
So the question specifically is, what can the public do if they're involved in this type of an accident where it's a CNG vehicle or hydrogen powered vehicle, whatever it may be? I think it's having that heightened level of awareness of a traffic accident today is not the same as a traffic accident that we used to have in the past. We have lots of different vehicles that are powered in a lot of different ways. The safest thing to do is to exit that vehicle if it makes sense, understanding what are the safety issues that might be at hand. And anytime there's any fire that's involved in those types of vehicles that are powered by CNG or hydrogen or some other type of gas, it's really important that the public understands that distance will provide safety.
And just one more follow-up there. In terms of the driver's responsibility, for example, when firefighters come, does the driver say, hey, this is what we got on board here, this is what we're dealing with, be aware?
Yes, so the question is, what responsibility does a driver potentially have to notify our first responders of a specific type of vehicle and how that is powered? I would say if that is a possibility, these situations and incidents are very dynamic. Depending upon what the situation is, first and foremost, the driver should always provide for their safety. If there's the opportunity to communicate with our first responders to say, this is a CNG vehicle, this is a hydrogen powered vehicle, that's helpful information. But always, always, always from the public side, the driver's side, make sure that they have their personal safety and well-being first. And if the opportunity is there, that is helpful information for our first responders.
Chief, Victor Cordero with Innovation. Do we know if this vehicle is part of a bigger fleet? And if so, is there any risk of this happening? Or what would be the step to prevent something like this to happen in the vehicle?
So the question is, are we aware if this vehicle was any type of a larger type of a fleet? I do not have that answer for you. I think that that could be something that our subject matter experts might be able to talk to, maybe not at this moment, but that is a very important piece to understand where these vehicles are, where they're stored, and perhaps what other additional safety mechanisms should be in place that can provide safety to the drivers, to the public, to the community, as well as our first responders.
Chief, I have a question for Dr. Dean, please. Doctor, thank you so much for your response today. You guys certainly worked under pressure, and I'm sure it was a chaotic scene when the firefighters came in. Can you just tell us when people come in with these burns to that degree, what are you working to stabilize first?
So one of our concerns was with information that we received from the emergency personnel who dropped them off was we knew that not only had they been burned, but that there had been an explosion and a blast. They had potentially been on top of a truck and then thrown back. So that tells us that there's now maybe multiple mechanisms of injury at play, which can lead to then multiple types of injury. First and foremost, we're always concerned about stabilizing someone's airway, especially if we're worried about an inhalational injury. And so for those two critically injured, that was the very first part that we evaluated for both of them. And then additionally, all the other blast injuries.
Thank you. Were there any other questions that we could answer at this time? Okay, well, we appreciate again your being here, and we'll provide you updates when we can. We do not anticipate another press conference later today. Thank you.
Okay, so just to kind of sum up, I have one last article, just for those of you who may have come in a little bit late. So again, this took place in Los Angeles. 9 firefighters were injured, 2 critically, and they were responding to a 911 call from the driver of the semi that had concerns about the truck. And in their response, 6 minutes after the 911 call came in, there was an explosion in which the firefighters were injured. So here is, I am going to show, I don't know, I can make this bigger. So again, this is the video of the explosion. I don't know if this one has sound, so just as a warning, it may be loud. Okay, so they did take away the volume. And so, and with pausing it, it makes it so you can't see it, but this is what remained of the semi. And the semi did not have a trailer on it. It was just the cab, and then, you know, I don't know what they call it, like the frame. Okay. So again, 9 Los Angeles firefighters were injured when a compressed natural gas tank on a burning truck exploded Thursday morning on a street in Wilmington. The powerful explosion that sent a fireball into the air was reported at about 7 a.m. And again, I believe it was the fire chief had said the call came in at 6:58 a.m. So 7 a.m. in the 1100 block of North Alameda Street. Firefighters initially responded to the location near a truck yard next to a residential neighborhood after a call about the truck fire. About 6 minutes later, nine firefighters who were putting out the fire were injured when one of the truck's 2 compressed natural gas tanks exploded. At least 2 firefighters were hospitalized in critical condition. Other people were being assessed for injuries at the scene. The unique aspect of this vehicle is that it's not run on diesel or gasoline, but it is actually propelled with CNG, or compressed natural gas. The explosion was significant. The ball of flame was as high as these telephone poles. 2 100-gallon compressed natural gas tanks were on the truck. Firefighters remained at the scene to release gas from the second tank on the burned-out truck. The explosion left debris scattered in the street. Video from News Chopper 4 showed several fire engines at the scene and the wreckage of the burned truck near a rail crossing. Security camera video showed a fireball rising into the sky over the South Bay community. So again, hopefully, you know, the firefighters who were injured are fully recovered, that they will fully recover from their injuries. And I actually hadn't known about compressed natural gas fueling vehicles. So vehicles not running on diesel or gasoline or electric. So that's actually something I'm interested in learning more about, because if that is something that will be the future of automobiles, I feel like it's a little bit more concerning, because it could just catch fire and then blow up. You can buy a new CNG vehicle from many auto manufacturers or have an existing gasoline-powered vehicle converted to run on compressed natural gas. CNG hybrids can run on both natural gas and gasoline. Interesting. Yeah, so I agree. Like, I don't know if I would. I mean, obviously, gasoline is also flammable, diesel is flammable, but to have compressed natural gas tanks and not knowing, I don't know. I'm not sure about all that. I feel like I definitely would want to do more research and learn more about it, because, like I said, I had no idea that existed. Oh, wow, Lisa. We have a hydrogen pumping station about 10 minutes from my place, literally down the street. K-Brace says you can also get a conversion to run your vehicle on propane. Oh my goodness. That's why I feel we need to somehow, time travel needs to be discovered, because then we wouldn't have to worry about all of this stuff. Yeah, I agree. Super scary. So thank you everyone for being here. I know it was a short live, but when I saw the story, I knew I wanted to talk about it. And so for those of you who may be catching this on the replay, thank you so much. For those of you who may be new listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I may or may not be live tomorrow. Again, it depends on what stories happen while I'm at work. I'm hoping for a delay, if not a snow day. I don't think we're going to get a snow day, but a delay is, I'm hoping for a delay. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a great night. And if I don't see you around these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.